Welcome back. Here watching Storyboard. After Nawabs, Nudes and Noodles, adman Ambi Parameswaran is back with his 9th book, Sponge: Leadership Lessons I Learned from My Clients. Sponge is an attempt to present the interesting conversations and encounters that Ambi had with the doyens of the corporate world in an easy-to-read format, mostly in a short story kind of a structure. We caught up with Ambi and spoke to him about this book and also asked him about what are the benefits of being a sponge. Sponge. When I read the name of the book, immediately it made me dig into the foreword to figure out why is the name Sponge. And when I read it, I realized that it is how you absorb ideas from others whenever during your encounters or any of your business interactions. Tell us, I read how you mentioned in the book that, instead of having a negative connotation or keeping the negative connotation of sponge in mind, one should relate to it in a very positive way and be a sponge, be more of a sponge. Can you elaborate on that point a bit more?
Originally, the idea of writing the book was about what I learned from my clients. That's the original idea. But then when we started brainstorming, we realized that we need to anchor it on something. So that's why the whole thing about leadership lessons I learned from my client came up. And even that in my mind it missed something. And then I hit on the idea that why not bring in a word which can connote the concept of absorbing things from outside. So the word sponge came up. And in the book I mentioned that how my nephew who lives in Australia used to use the word sponge in a somewhat derogatory manner, saying, Vikash is a sponge because he sponges marks from teachers and stuff like that. But I said, look, sponge is a very interesting thing to look at. So, for example, this is a sponge. This lives deep in the ocean, right? It doesn't have a digestive system. It doesn't have a central nervous system. How does it therefore live? It allows water to come in with a lot of nutrients, takes the nutrients from the water, allows the water to take away impurities. So I said, what if we treat every single client or customer interaction we have like a sponge? We allow them to tell us, we allow them and we absorb positive things which they tell us and let them remove the negative preconception we may have in your mind. So that's how the old idea of using the sponge came up. And when I bounced it off my editor and my literary agent, they all thought it was a nice idea to use as an anchor. Then a friend of mine who was a very successful coach told me, why don't you make sponge into a framework? So I've then coined this whole thing called SPONGE as a sponge framework for learning. So
again, you have explained that in the book. Can you just tell that again for the audience?
Yeah, so sponge is SPONGE and this is the book, right? So SPONGE. So S stands for super active listening. So not only should we listen to what our customers are saying, can we actively listen? Can we listen more seriously than try to sell? P is to probe and question. So they say something, you don't fully understand what they're saying. So probe and question what they're saying. So that's P. O is observe. Observe body language. Observe tone and manner. Don't just leave it to the words. N is from all this, from SPO, you identify new behavior which you want to emulate. Identify that. G is getting to the job. Execute that behavior. Try and behave what you learned. And E is then expand, explain, share it with your own colleagues so that they can also become better leaders, by sponging from maybe you,
So who is the book exactly for, Ambi?
Well, like the title says, leadership lessons. So I've tried to make the book a lot more broad-based than my previous book. So this is actually meant for any young executive, any young entrepreneur who wants to learn, who wants to become a better leader, who wants to become a better entrepreneur. And so there is something in the book for every one of them.
You must grab a copy of this book. It makes a great weekend read indeed. With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back same time next week. See you soon.